And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Keeg where we go over this week's new comic book releases. For those of you who don't know, DC Comics come out on Tuesdays, Marvel and Indie Comics come out on Wednesdays, and we're here on a Thursday, November 9th, 2023, to talk about all the comics that came out this week, or at least everything that me and my guest have read. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you are watching us live on twitch.tv/thekeegshow or youtube.com/thekeegshow, you can see who my guest is today. But if you're listening to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, obviously you can't see him. So, who could it be? I feel like it's always a 50-50 shot. This week, we got Manny Jandres, aka Manny Reads Comics. Manny, what's up, man?
Going on. Happy to be here. Always happy to be back.
I'm happy. I'm happy that you're back too. Are you growing out the mustache?
Yeah. So for Halloween, I don't know if you've ever seen the show, but it's My Name Is Earl.
Yeah.
And so my wife was Joy, ex-wife, I guess.
Yeah.
And I went as Earl. So like when my hair is down, I have the perfect length hair to have the Earl. And like so, of course, I shaved my beard down to where you could see the mustache pretty well. And when I was about to shave the mustache off the next day, my wife was like, "It's not bad. You should keep it, at least for a week." And now it's been about 2 weeks. So I'm seeing how it works. What do you think?
Yeah.
Making it work now. Right now everything's going out, so you can't really see it. So.
It's not like I appreciate like the character that you bring with it. You know? Whether whether that would be my preferred facial hair for you, I don't get a say. You know, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't get a say in your facial hair, but you know.
I mean, I started growing my hair out, so like I'm just like, you know what? Let's just try a whole bunch of things. You know, we'll see what sticks.
I had a like a Wild West murder mystery party, and the weeks leading up to it, I was growing this out, and then I shaved it into like sections. So like,
Nice.
So I can get that kind of like Wild West kind of look. And then after it was done, I shaved it off. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, Halloween passed and it's the first week of, no, it's the second week of November, which is so weird.
Second week? Wow.
It's the second week.
Yeah, it is.
Now this month, and I feel like it's worth keeping track of because last week was a weird week where Tuesday was October 31st, Wednesday was November 1st, right? But they were both the 5th Tuesday and Wednesday of their respective months. So it was like a slow week for comics because it was the 5th week of December for DC and it was the first week of 5 for Marvel last week.
Oh, then you know what? That explains why I haven't been getting a lot of comics.
Yeah.
I just haven't been thinking about it.
Last week was a slow week, but
That's
keep in mind that there are 4 Tuesdays in December and 5 Wednesdays. So whether that affects Marvel, I don't know.
You said December?
In November, I don't know about December,
Okay. Yeah.
but December has to deal with like the holidays. No, December and November, or December has 4 Tuesdays and 4 Wednesdays. Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, either way, this week we had a good amount of comics that came out this week. Obviously, what you read and what I read will overlap, but then also, we've read things that others haven't. But then there are obviously other comics that came out this week that we, won't be mentioning. But go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you, and check out what these comics that came out are. What did you read this week?
We've only read about 6 books this week. In no particular order, we got Birds of Prey, number 3 from DC Comics, Transformers 2, which is Skybound, which is Image, right?
It's Image.
Yeah. Shazam, number 5 from DC Comics, Batman 139, Dark Ride, number 10 from Image Comics.
You didn't tell me that one. Oh.
Sorry. That one was like a last-minute one.
Yeah.
And Dark Ride, number 10.
Oh, you already said Dark Ride.
Amazing Spider-Man 37.
Okay, there we go. So that's a good 6. That's a good solid 6.
a good six. It's very DC heavy, honestly. I'm surprised at how much. Because like we always say when I'm on, I've been really getting into the indie comics. So like
Yeah.
this week, a lot of DC. So maybe they're stepping their game up.
I mean, I personally do think that DC is stepping their game up. I think that, like, when you look at the numbers, DC and Marvel, like, DC's putting out less comics than Marvel, sure. But if we're looking at the quality of comics that DC is putting out, I don't think they're really wasting very many comics.
I think we may have a debate.
Oh,
So.
yeah? Okay, all right. I mean, maybe some of the books that you read this week were a waste. But we'll go over that. I read, what did I read? I am behind on certain DC comics. So like there are ones that like I really love that I've fallen behind, so I can't really talk about it. But what did I read this week? I read Shazam 5, I read Batman 139, I read Amazing Spider-Man 37. And you know, this is going back between DC and Marvel. Guardians of the Galaxy number 8, I read Marvel Unleashed number 4, I read Punisher number 1, I read the 3 X-Men books, Uncanny Spider-Man 3, X-Force 46, and X-Men Red 17. And then I read Superman 78, The Metal Curtain, number 1.
Oh, not that many books. Just a little bit.
I can't tell if you're joking or not. Because here's the thing,
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
we both read a ridiculous amount of comic books. If you ask anybody, it's a ridiculous
that was a
amount.
lot.
But then when we come on the show to talk about it, we're like, it's a slow week. I only read 12. And it's like,
I only got
what?
12 books this week. That
It's like, I think it's like, I don't know. I feel it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, life isn't too busy. I just have every single day booked. It's kind of like that.
right? Yeah, man. It's
I don't
crazy.
know.
Because I also had other books on my reading list that I
Yeah.
just didn't get to because
What'd you not get to?
there's just so
What did
many.
you want to read but didn't do?
So I wasn't able to read Blue Beetle number 3 yet.
I need to
Dead
catch up
Lucky
on
number
it.
10. Yeah, I mean I'm only one issue behind now, but but it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Dead Lucky number 10, Gods number 2, and a new book by Boom Studios called Zawa and the Belly of the Beast number
Yeah.
1. The cover just kind of intrigued me, so I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick
It was
this
a
up.
cool art style.
And yeah, and then Night number 2 by
Okay.
Image Comics.
Because what I had wanted to read, I'm behind on Birds of Prey. Well, actually, I didn't even start Birds of Prey number 1. Got a couple pages in, and then I stopped for some reason and never got back. But Birds of Prey number 3, if I was on track, I would have. Blue Beetle number 3, I have only read the first issue, and I needed to continue. Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville. I think I read the first issue. That's number 3. All these books are 3 issues in, so they all started at the same time. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, I was like, I can't. Poison Ivy 16 I would have read this week, but I think I'm a couple issues behind. And then I did skim through The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, number 12, because the events of Batman 139, they bring it up.
Right.
And so I was like, what happens? But
Crazy. They also brought up the Night, which so I'm like all of
oh
these.
yeah,
I thought they were non-canon, but
no, the Knight
apparently,
is canon.
yeah, they are canon now. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Batman the Knight is canon. But then, on Marvel's side, I was gonna read Gods 2, or I wanted to. I wanted to read Thanos 1, and What If Dark Tomb of Dracula number 1. That one, the What If Dark, I don't like What If, but I was gonna read it, but it would have been last on my list. You know, if all the
I like
stars
the
aligned.
I like the I like the what ifs that actually like say what it is in the title. Like, what if Spider-Man killed blah blah blah, right? But like, there's one what if called What If Venom. What does that mean?
What if Venom?
What do you
There's What If
what if
Carnage,
Venom?
right?
Like,
There's like a What If
yeah,
Carnage.
like what is this book about? Just tell me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's weird.
I like the What If miniseries. So like Spider Shadow, when you could
Yeah,
tell a full
that
story.
wasn't
Like
bad, yeah.
DC Elseworld books, like The Nail, Did you ever read The Nail? Okay,
I don't even
so
know what you're referencing, honestly. Like,
it's a forgotten book, but The Nail is a Justice League Elseworlds book from like late 90s. The art is beautiful. It's Alan Davis on art. And the story is because there's an old poem, and it was like, I think the poem is like, for the want of a nail, a horseshoe was lost. For the want of a horseshoe, a horse was lost. For the want of a horse, a knight was lost. For the want of a knight, an army was lost. For a want of an army, a kingdom was lost. All for the want of a nail. So there's like a thing. So the nail, Justice League, the nail, or JLA, the nail, was if Martha and Jonathan Kent got a nail in their tire, and they don't even see Clark land, they don't even see the baby. What happens then? So it's it's like a 3-issue miniseries, and then they do a sequel miniseries. But the 3-issue miniseries takes place in a world without Superman. But he is around, but you don't see him because he's not a superhero. He's no one. He's not even Clark Kent. Because
so, so he's. I find that weird. You know, if I just had powers, who cares who my parents are, right? Like,
well, you want me to tell you?
I'm gonna. I mean, I don't care. I'm probably not
he's
gonna read
raised by
it.
an Amish couple, and so
Oh,
his
okay,
job
that
is
makes
just to
sense. Yeah.
stay on the farm, do his
Support
thing. That's it.
support the community,
Right.
and that's it. Yeah, that makes sense. But what did he do for what's it called when they go out into the real world? Like,
He doesn't go out in the
Ra
real world.
Ra. That's what I'm saying. But like that, the Amish people have that
Oh,
tradition.
Rumspringer.
Rumspringer. There you go. Thank you.
I don't know.
So
I don't think
what
it
did he
goes
do
into
for
how
that?
wild he gets in Rumspringer, but
That's the third part. That's the third part coming out next year. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh, so like Lex Luthor is mayor of Metropolis. There's an anti-metahuman agenda, and so like the Justice League isn't being they're not trusted. The Justice League isn't trusted the way they would be with Superman in that timeline.
That makes sense.
It's a really good book because yeah, it's just all these characters, like what are they like without him? What's Lois like? What's Jimmy like? You know? Who are, the effect of
Check that
Superman.
out. I think I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's
It's only
who's
three
it
parts, you
written
said,
by?
so
It could be Mark Waid.
it's Mark Waid. I'm definitely checking it out.
But yeah, so the point being is I like those type of. Oh no, it is written and drawn both by Alan Davis. It's written by Alan Davis as well. You'll recognize Alan Davis if you don't know Alan Davis.
I'm not off the top of my head, but
Okay. He has a very distinctive style. Um so what was I gonna say? Oh, Elseworlds. Were we talking about
what
Elseworlds?
if?
Oh, what if?
Yeah,
Dark.
yeah.
I was like, how did we get here? Um all right,
That's
so
comics. How do we get here?
I also
That's
wanted
usually
to.
how it is.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah. Transformers 2 I also wanted to read. I also wanted to read that, but I didn't get the chance. I read number 1. I didn't get to read it. You have a scoring rubric that you do. So I don't know if you can sum it up real quick for, if this is anyone's first episode, they don't know. What's your scoring rubric?
If you've seen it before, then you already know. Pace, uh, dialogue, emotion, logic, and immersiveness. Those are my
Okay.
three little things that I look at when I'm reading. And just to kind of jump right straight into it, each one gets a max of 3 points each in my book. And so the best book of the week would get 15 points maximum. And this week, Birds of Prey #3 got 15 points. And very surprising. I don't put art on that because I don't want to be biased of a story because of the art,
But the art's part
even
of the
though there are
medium.
exceptions. It's like the exception is Amazing Spider-Man. JRR is it's I don't want to talk
It,
crap, man, but
yeah.
he's horrible and he makes the story even worse. When because as soon as Gleason jumps on the book, the story is not as horrible,
Yeah.
right? Like it wasn't as bad. And then so with Birds of Prey, Leonardo Romero, he's got a good art style, but it's like a very old timey art
Yeah.
style. I'm not a fan of it. I don't hate it, but I'm not a fan of it. It works. And so like if I had art here, this obviously wouldn't be a perfect 15 book. But this issue was great.
Okay.
Everything about it. I love the birds that got chosen. So we have who was on the team? Harley Quinn, Barda, um, Black Canary. She's the one that gathered
Hmm.
everybody. Zealot, which I don't know anything about
I don't know
Zealot.
anything about Zealot. She's a Wildstorm character.
Yeah. And then we got Maps, who's like the
Oh, is
character
Maps
from
there?
yeah, she's from the future. She's not the kid. She's an adult. So
Oh
it's
no.
it's interesting. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I don't
Wait, I
I
thought
like
Cass. I
the
thought that's it's not Cassandra Cain.
oh Cat Cassandra Cain is also on the team.
Okay, but
That
Maps
was the
is
last one.
but a future version of Maps is she was in Gotham Academy, and then she
Yeah.
was in some side book like some like kind of side stories.
Backup story. Yeah.
She's like a detective, like a little like a kid detective in
Yeah,
Gotham, right?
honestly, kind of like Tim, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't want to say she's a genius or anything like that, like Tim level, but
right.
she wants to be Robin. She wants to be Batman's Robin. That's what she's doing
Yeah,
and
she
all that stuff.
does. Yeah.
And but yeah, no, she's a adult here. She's coming back from the past, and she can teleport. And
Okay.
she explains that it's not a power of hers. She did it. She figured out how to teleport. It's just a tool of hers, basically.
Okay.
Like she did research to figure out how to do that, and that's
Yeah.
explained in this book. But
But you're saying
um,
this is like this is the perfect 15 out of 15 on the Manny
yeah,
scale?
man, like the pace was great. The dialogue, Harley Quinn, I was annoyed that she was on this team because I'm like,
Yeah.
she's getting so much attention. She's getting so much. She makes this book, and it's not just like her dialogue that makes the book. It's the dialogue that's used toward in this issue. She came up with this crazy plan that I don't really want to spoil, so you should read it. But she came up with this crazy plan that's Black Canary's fault for putting her in charge of the plan.
Yeah.
And there's some like inner monologue that she does, and she goes, I don't know what's worse, the fact that the fact that I'm doing this crazy plan because of Harley, and I'm gonna kick her ass for it later,
Yeah.
or the fact that this plan is working and I have to thank her later. Like I don't know which one's worse.
Right.
So like so it's really good. And then like so not only is that happening because they are breaking into Themyscira for anyone that's not reading it, they're
Okay.
breaking into Themyscira to recover Black Canary's sister. That's just but about as much as I know after reading it that you know. So that's pretty much it. Uh,
Wait, she has a
so
sister? Is it older or younger sister?
younger sister, I already forgot her name. Damn.
Is it Sarah?
But
It's
she's
not Sarah, right?
not Sarah,
Are they
no.
doing what they did on Legends of Tomorrow on the Arrowverse? Are they going to do a
Not
White
Sarah,
Canary?
yeah. No, so basically she's being kept there, like not against her will or anything, but there's
Okay.
something dangerous that's gonna get to Themyscira that puts her in danger. So
Okay.
she wants to save her. But it's not Sarah. But talking about Themyscira, so they have to sneak in, which is kind of tough to do when the princess is Wonder Woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the whole like the big bad that of this story. She's not a bad person, but like they need to sneak around her. And in this issue, we get Green Arrow causing some distraction for on that front with
Okay.
Wonder Woman. And again, hilarious. Dialogue's great. Like as soon as it begins, before the fight even starts, Oliver's like, "Man, this is gonna hurt for a week. Like this is
Yeah.
gonna be rough." And then you just start to see the punches going, and you're like, "Yep, that sucks,
I
man."
mean, like Diana would be ruthless. Like we've seen Ollie fight other powered people, Superman even. But like something about Wonder Woman scares me.
And they actually do that in like the last 2 pages of the book. It's like Batman is scary. Superman, you are scared of him, but he's not scary.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, you love her, but you don't cross her.
Right.
And then that's kind of like the book ends. So, but it was everything. That was a great ride the whole time. Every like, pace was great. you start with the story that you left off with last issue, you move on from that story, and then you get some more, just enough information to want to know what happens in the next issue,
Right.
but you don't feel like it's dragging. So like pace was great, everything about it was great. Logic, I'm telling you, Harley Quinn, like the fact that Harley Quinn made this book go from a logic of a default 2 to a 3 is ridiculous. But yeah, no, it was a great book. You should definitely catch up on it.
Okay.
Top of your list.
I wanted to because like I like Birds of Prey. I liked when Gail Simone did it, and I like. I mean, I even did a TikTok video of like who I would put, but not in a Birds of Prey. So essentially, somebody was like, A Force. You remember A Force in Marvel? It was the all female
Yeah.
Avenger team. So someone was like, what would DC's version? So I created my own like list of like what DC's version, like who would be on that team. But like Birds of Prey to me is different than A Force because Birds of Prey to me is more street level. It's
Mhm.
but the fact is they have Big Barda and Big Barda is a new god. So I
Yeah.
don't know whether I agree with the lineup, but if you're saying it's good, then it's probably good despite of the lineup. Because do I need
I didn't
Zealot?
care for Big Barda. Yeah. Well, she kind of comes in clutch in
Oh,
this issue. Like again, like I don't know anything about her. She does something, and I was like, I didn't know that you could do that, but
yeah.
that's kind of cool, I guess. And Big Barda is also another questionable one that she's starting to with this third issue. Now I'm starting to be like, oh, okay, that's why she's here. Okay, that makes a little bit more
Okay.
sense. But no, it's just
You
it's
don't like
fun.
Big
It's
Barda?
been a fun book. I don't not like her. I just don't really know her.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
I don't really
Have you
read any
read
books
Tom
on her.
King's Mr. Miracle?
I tried to not read Tom King stuff, even though his Supergirl book was like one of the top books of last year.
Yeah.
And then he did like another book,
He's doing Wonder
which was
Woman right
great.
now.
And I'm not liking it.
No? Did you read
The
it?
Nah, I
Okay.
read the first. I skimmed the first issue, and then
Okay.
I haven't read the second issue. So,
Uh
but
I'm not counting him out on Wonder Woman. Like I know that he's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not even saying he's my cup of tea. But like I'm not saying he's doing a bad job of Wonder Woman. I'm not gonna say he's doing the
I've
best
been
job.
reading.
But like he could be doing the best job. I don't know yet.
I
I don't
think
have
every,
enough
I think
information.
everybody has the same thing to say about him, which is like he can write stories. So like a 12 miniseries, wait till he's done and it's a good book.
Yeah.
Uh, but like I'm reading Danger Street
Yeah.
from him right
Is
now,
it over
and
yet?
that
Did it
is,
finish all 12?
man, when I read it, that's what I'm saying. Is this over yet? Is this
Right.
over yet? It's on
I
issue
I
10.
read half of Danger Street and then I was like I gotta pick it up later. Same with not the question. It was Rorschach. I didn't finish
Yeah.
Rorschach because I was like, this is so
Yeah.
much, and it's like, okay,
One one thing that he likes to do is he likes the explicitives in the characters, like
yeah,
the at sign, the
yeah,
exclamation point, all that. And one guy's like dialogue is nothing but those. So I hate reading it. Like it's funny one time in this one panel or whatever, but when it's every time this person talks or anytime anybody talks and all you see are expletives, but you don't see because this is supposed to be a black label book, right? So
yeah. That's
just say
weird.
it. Just say the word. It's fine.
Maybe it's not his brand. Maybe him as a writer.
It it really hurts it when I'm reading and I have to like guess what the next word. What is he saying here? Is he saying
Mm.
hell or is he saying shit or is he saying like and then sometimes it's like you don't use enough characters, so I'm like, oh, so you just
Do you like it when
what
it's the
word is
same
this?
word or the same amount of
Yeah, like
letters as the word?
yeah, like if it's shit and then it's
Right.
four characters,
Yeah.
great, that makes sense. But like if you use two characters, what does that mean? And it would be better if you use like five characters every single time, but at least keep it uniform, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. He drags on, and Danger Street is one of those that's dragging
It's
right now.
dragon. I will. I mean, I'll get back to Danger Street and all that. And then I gotta get back to Rorschach and everything. But
No rush, no rush.
Birds of Prey, I want to get into. I do. I'm gonna jump back in. Now
That's a
the
good one.
question though for me is, what is my pick of the week? There was one book that made me cry, and I'll end up doing a video on it at some point, but I couldn't, before this show. But I don't. It's not the one that made me cry because I can't pick that as my pick of the week. But I'm gonna say like a book that I just enjoyed the most was maybe Shazam #5.
That one's my third pick.
Okay,
So
all right.
it's oof.
What
I
would you
like
give
that.
it out of the 15? How'd it
I gave
clear?
it I gave it a 13.
Oh, oh,
So so dialogue and logic, 2 points. Everything else got three.
okay. But it was default two. Two is default, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
default is two. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean that's not bad. That's just
What'd you like about it? What were your
first thing
favorite
the
parts?
art. Like
Yes, you can't not talk about the art.
Dan Mora on art is amazing. Mary Marvel. By the way,
You
there's some
you
okay.
could have just stole that.
What'd you say?
I was just about to say Mary Marvel, and then you said
When she comes
it.
in, there's a couple of things with the way they deal with Mary Marvel in this, but let's talk superficially. Um, I have never like crushed on Mary Marvel until the movie came out because the actress in the movie, and then she like really like ups
Shazam.
it in the second movie. Regardless of what you want to say about Shazam 2, like I liked her a lot. But and then when she appears in this, I'm like, oh, like
Any
that's
honestly,
the Mary Marvel
that's
I'm
that's
getting.
the that's the Dan Mora effect. Because I felt the same way about I don't know her name, but from Doom Patrol, the girl that's like
Which one?
not the Invisible Girl, but um,
Elastigirl?
he drew. Yeah, that's her. Yeah,
Rita Farr?
because he drew her with the Batman Superman World's Finest when Doom Patrol was in it
Oh
for the
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah.
whatever. And I was like, I don't know who this is, but she's my new crush. Like, thank you, Dan Mora. Like, Dan Mora effect, right? Like that's a
You
thing.
know who really does crushable art, and it sucks because I've heard he's a shit person.
Mm.
With shit views is Otto Schmidt.
I know the name, and I wish I could picture that what he's
There's an
drawn, but
alternate cover for Birds of Prey 3 with Black Canary that
oh yes, I wanted that, and
you know what I'm
I
talking about?
missed it.
She's like holding
Yeah, where
brass
she's got
knuckles, or
like the
what's she
bubble
holding?
gum.
What's she holding in her hand?
I don't know, but like I know that she's got like a bubble gum coming out,
Oh,
like
okay.
kind of like
I
the
mean, it's
background.
probably. I mean, yeah. If you look up Otto Schmidt, you'll know he's the one who did DC versus Vampires.
Oh, okay.
Like his pinup art is next level, but that's neither here nor there. Here's the thing: Mary Marvel has been upped to a pretty major DC character these days, right? She's getting power differently than Shazam, than Billy, right? Like, and so she has a different power source, and she's off doing her own thing, which is awesome. But like, she shows up in this. She doesn't. She doesn't save Billy necessarily. Like she comes in to work with Billy, which I thought was cool in the plot, right? It wasn't like one was better than the other, Mary Marvel or Shazam. By the way, does she go by Mary Marvel?
She goes by Mary Marvel, and actually, did you read the new Champion of Shazam, where like it talks about her getting her powers back?
Yeah, I read that one.
I don't. I guess I missed it then because I didn't recall that she was getting her power from like goddesses, like different goddesses and stuff.
I
I
think
thought
it
they.
happens in the Lazarus. I think it happens in Lazarus
Oh,
Planet.
okay,
There's a Lazarus Planet
okay,
tie-in. That's why she said she's powered by she has the speed of Zephyrus,
yeah.
and so it's
And when she calls on Shazam, like she calls on the
Zeus.
god
Zeus is
of
like
Shazam,
good
like
enough.
Zeus. Yeah,
Dude,
that
that
was
was
really
such
good.
a
Yeah.
cool like that's what I think the Shazam movies were missing is a lot more of that mythology.
Now that you bring that up, it's a 14. That logic is flawless. Like that logic is pretty good enough. Like she said Shazam, he's tied to that.
Yeah. Well,
Here we
he's like,
are.
I
Like
can't
so
throw
like
it. I
yeah,
can't throw the
yeah.
lightning bolt.
Right. Yeah, no, I like it.
And all
Yeah.
the other
It's a,
gods are
it's a
like,
14.
throw the lightning bolt. I loved the part where where he's acting out of character, and she's like, "Wait a minute,
This is weird.
you're reckless, you're blah blah blah," and she goes through it, and she goes, "The gods are controlling you," and then the cut to the gods being like, "Oh shit, she figured us out."
You are like you changed the whole thing here because yeah, I don't know why I said logic was only a two, but it's definitely a three.
I
Like
mean,
I'm
is it
changing it
Mark
up on my
Wade?
phone right now. Yeah,
It
it's
is Mark Wade. I
Mark
mean,
Wade.
Mark Wade,
Yeah.
he can do no wrong. I would. Oh, I will. I will eat a shoe if at any point Mark Wade comes out as like a bad person in real life. I don't want to believe that, you know? Not that anything's ever
Yeah.
been said. I'm just saying it would suck because he does such amazing work, and I would eat a shoe and be like, okay,
Like I've never heard of Ted the gorilla, but I hate him. I hate that
oh
gorilla
yeah, I think he was
just
just
because of Mark
introduced in
Wade.
this.
Okay, then
I
yeah,
think
he
he's
he
just
did such a
introduced.
good job of like even though he hasn't really done anything bad, he's just such a hateable character because of
Yeah,
who he is and how Mark Wade writes him and stuff.
yeah. Did we the last time you were on this episode? Was that the week that there was Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever read it or no?
No. And it's funny that you brought that up because I went into my comic book shop today and they have a new poster of the cover of Justice League versus King Kong versus Godzilla. This huge like backlit poster and everything. I'm like, I need to get to that. Maybe. Possibly.
I mean I told you like Grodd
Yeah.
is like, oh my god, there's an ape god, and he's like, what? I don't know. I thought it was just a cool moment. Like, can you imagine? You know?
I just don't think that's in character for Grodd, right? Like, would he do that? Would he say
I
that?
think I think it's I think because what I think is funny is Ted in this book says praise Grodd or
Oh,
something like that, right?
oh my God. Like,
Oh
yeah,
my
they
Grodd,
both saw it. They oh my God.
right? Which I think is really cool because Grodd is revered by the people that revere him. That being
Right.
said, Kong is a god's god, and I thought that that
Yeah,
was like
there you
the
go.
one person who would make Grodd feel small because Grodd never feels small,
Right,
right?
right.
It'd be King Kong. Like
Yeah,
I just think it
no,
was
that makes
cool.
sense.
It was it's super cool. Um, but yeah, no. Now that I'm thinking about this book, there were so many good moments in this, and then it ends like Billy. Well, it ends right before it ends. Billy is like, "Look,
Oh yeah, that
you got no other
I don't
choice.
understand. Yeah.
You got no other choice. I'm your champion. You listen to me. That's it." And then Freddy pops up, goes, "I'll be your champion." It's like, what?
Forget
Freddy?
this guy. Forget this guy. I'm right here.
What? I mean,
That was interesting.
I do think it would be cool for Freddy to get the powers of Shazam and then Billy to get a new power set. Like a new six gods, you know?
I think it's gonna be a fake out. I think
Yeah.
Freddy's
I
just got a
want Freddy to have
plan
powers also. I want the return of the Shazam
for the
family
family.
from before New 52.
I feel like they're talking about that so much in these last few issues that it's got to happen, right? Like Mark wouldn't just keep bringing them back up and oh yeah, Shazam family, and then be like, yeah, that's never gonna happen again. Like
Right.
I feel like it's got
But
to
I
come
don't
back.
want the Shazam family to be from the same source. I never liked
Oh,
that.
each one get that would
Because
be
that's how
cool.
it used to be.
That
It used to be there was three Shazams. There's three Captain Marvels. There was Captain Marvel, Mary Marvel, Captain Marvel Jr. And each of their SHAZAM stood for something different because they were all powered by different gods. I think. No, Captain Marvel Jr. was powered by Captain Marvel, but then Black Adam's SHAZAM was different gods. So those three were 6, 12,
would
18
be
different
cool.
gods.
I feel like that would be too much research, I guess, for whoever's writing that
I mean,
book.
they've
Like,
already
oh man,
planned it out.
I gotta find
Honestly, you know what
these.
I would love? Something that I don't think they've ever done. What if you got a Captain Marvel powered by some new gods
like the new gods. You
from
talk
New
about the
Genesis? Yeah,
apocalypse and all that. Yeah, New Genesis. I just never saw them as actual gods.
they're
Even though
supposed to be
I
though.
just
They're
thought
supposed to be the they're supposed to be the new gods. They just
What if
don't
one
meddle with
got
Earth.
powered? One got powered by one of the, like the All Father or whatever, and then what's the guy's name? The
Highfather?
son of Apocalypse
Oh,
or
Orion.
that's Joe or Orion.
Yeah,
Orion just shows up and he's like, if you don't like listen to me, I'll tell my father to stop, like, or something
yeah,
like that. Like that'd be
yeah.
pretty funny.
Because I mean, I think the new gods. I mean, their whole thing is they just don't meddle with Earth. Apocalypse meddles a little bit, right? And it just would be cool to see like, and you can introduce new gods that we've never seen that start with Shazam.
Yeah.
As long as maybe like one of them is somebody you've seen before, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of like different gods because especially you can start going into like it doesn't have to be Greek gods or
Right,
Roman. It can go
right.
Egyptian gods. You got
Well,
all
that's
sorts of
yeah, that's
different.
Black Adams. I think is Egyptian, but like,
Mhm.
but yeah, you're right. Like you can do like Native American gods.
I was gonna
You
say
know?
Aztecs. You
Yeah.
can do those. It'll be it'd be interesting.
I mean, how
It's
crazy
doable.
are they? Correct me if I'm wrong. Could it be? Could it be? Could it be the other Shazam family kids get powered by their ethnic heritage? Is it too much? I don't know.
I
Would
was
it be
just
too
about to
far?
say the same thing. I don't think that's too far. I think that would be like a way to embrace their nationality,
Yeah.
like, hey, these are my gods and these are the ones that are powered me. And if like one of them was just like, I don't know much about my heritage when it comes to
Right.
that, these guys can, it's just a good way to just bring different stories and bring about character growth and stuff like that. So I think that would be pretty great. I was literally thinking the same thing
Yeah.
again, and you said it. So
Give them all different sources.
yeah,
I think it's cool.
that'd be
Like
pretty cool.
Grant Morrison, I think has brought in like with his like with their multiversity stuff, the Australian Thunder God. You know what I'm talking about? There's like in the DC multiverse, there's like a Thor analog called I forget what he's called, but he's the Aboriginal Thunder God. So he's Thor, but there. So yeah. Anyway.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's so many things to explore, but Shazam, yeah, Shazam 5 is my pick. My pick of the week. Um,
If you're not reading Shazam, you should definitely read
I think
Shazam.
so.
That's a
Yeah.
great book. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all I mean, I really think that like you could just read anything Mark Waid writes.
And it's gonna be a solid book.
Yeah.
No, Shazam was actually my second pick, but literally right before we started this show, I finished reading Transformers 2.
Yeah.
And well, actually, I lied. I was gonna say Transformers took the spot, but now after revising my my points and stuff, Shazam is my number two pick.
Okay.
Transformers is my number three pick. Which
What's your number 3?
not to Transformers number two.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, let's talk
not
about
to
Transformers number 2.
I'm not a huge Transformers fan. Like I
Okay.
was telling you earlier, like I have no nostalgia behind it. I watched Beast Wars. That was my
Okay.
Transformers,
So
right? Like,
yes, 90s kids, we grew up on Beast Wars. People don't realize that like
yep,
yeah, for me Transformers didn't mean anything. Like
nope.
Beast Wars was our Transformers. And then the movies came out
Mhm.
and I liked the movies. That's where I really got into Transformers. But like Beast Wars was
Exactly.
yeah.
And I understood they were connected and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, Beast Wars, I like the animals, right? Like
Right.
those were great. So when like people are talk to me about Transformers and like Autobots, like, oh no,
Those were
like I'm
80s
not about
kids.
rolling out.
I'm a 90s kid.
And so, yeah, and so like this is very still like very 80s centric. So again, I don't know much about the Transformers. I'm sure there's some panels that I'm like, that's an Easter egg, isn't it? I don't. It's going right over my head, but
Yeah.
that's an Easter egg for sure. Uh, but with my tiny knowledge of Transformers, this is such a good book. And
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson is the artist and the writer.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
he, it's so one of my favorite panels is my favorite panel from this week is from Transformers. Uh, we get to see the Autobots waking up on Earth. Like
Yeah.
they crash landed, they have been offline, and in the issue one we see them wake up, and so it opens with Optimus Prime going into the forest, and he's like, "This is so beautiful," and
This
he
is
takes
issue number
one
two.
step forward. Yeah, issue number two, and he takes one step forward, and he stepped on a deer. Like
Oh,
it is just like so like you mentioned like you were crying, you cried at a book.
yeah.
Like this was just sad because he's like he is so apologetic about it. He's like, I am so sorry. Like I did not know. I should have known better. Like I'm so sorry. And then the kid comes like from behind. He's like, hey, I saw everything. It's not your fault. It was an accident. It's okay. And he's like, no, I should have known better. I should not have done this. And it's kind of like emotional. Like I
Yeah.
mean, I was just like, damn, that sucks. But
Do you think about
and
his
then it just goes
voice?
into
Do you
like,
imagine his voice from like?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And then we get from that beautiful moment of like that's how much he cares about life and like beauty and like that's how who he is. And then we get a fight scene with Starscream, who's like just like learning his powers. Basically, he's a plane, and he's fighting these gunfighters in the air, and they eject. Right, like he hit their plane, so they eject out, and they're two. I think they're brothers, and so one goes one way, the other one goes over here, and as soon as this guy like gets his parachute out, Starscream's like in his face, and he just smacks him. And you see the splat, like you see,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, it's like in the first issue, isn't there
wow.
one where he's outside the bar and he picks up the guy and he just squeezes him?
And he just squeezes him. Like, it's so brutal, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's not holding back. Daniel Warren Johnson's like not holding back on the brutality that can happen with giant robotic aliens. But
I like the characterization that like Starscream likes to kill. Cuz I
oh,
mean, we know that
he's
like
having fun.
he's like Megatron's right-hand man. He wants to be the king, sure. But
Yeah,
like I like the idea that like if Megatron isn't even as bloodthirsty as Starscream,
no,
you know?
Is power thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and you
Starscream's
got
like, "No, just let
Starscream
me
that's
kill
just
people."
I'm just trying to have fun,
Yeah.
and that's his fun. Like, oof,
Yeah.
it's brutal and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's cool that this is like a new Image universe cuz Image is doing a couple different universes.
yeah,
They got
yeah, man.
they got the massive verse, right?
verse,
Then they got
Energon verse.
the Energon verse. Are they doing?
Is
Oh, they're doing the monster verse. They're doing the Dracula Universal
oh,
Hollywood monsters.
would you say that Mark Miller's verse is in this? Because it is Image.
I mean, technically, yeah. Well, this is Skybound, which is Robert Kirkman's. So
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, you're right.
you know, Energon verse is Robert Kirkman's. Not that Invincible and Walking Dead will cross over with this, but like
But they might.
I mean, he has his label on the thing. The
Yeah.
Skybound label's on it with Image. You know?
Did you ever, did you ever read a Oblivion song? That's another Skybound,
Oh no.
and it's Robert Kirkman.
Wait,
But
Oblivion
that's more
song?
of like,
No. Void Rivals. I read the first issue, and that's the
yeah,
Energon verse.
that's the Energon. So the same. So Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo De Felici,
Okay.
something like that. They're the ones on Void Rivals. Same team for Oblivion song. So. You
Okay.
got kind of like the gist of the feelings that he does. But Oblivion Song is another good one, which is just about um an alternate dimension and
Okay.
like us figuring out that there is an alternate dimension and immediately like harvesting it for resources and things like that. Something like
Yeah.
that.
How do we?
Something like that.
Yeah. How do we take advantage of it? Um,
Yeah.
why aren't you reading X Men books? Because I'll give my
There's
quick thing about these three X Men books that came out this week. Why aren't you? Why don't you
so
read?
much. It's just so much.
Why don't you
I
just pick a title that you like and then go with that?
because I did that for like a year and a half maybe, and I always felt left behind. I always felt like not,
You just
I
have to have
never
X
had the
Men
full
friends, so you just talk about
information.
it, and that's it.
Uh, I never had my cup filled basically with it. It's like, it's always like they're talking about something that happened in last week's book, and I have no idea. Like they're referencing it, and I don't know, and I don't like that. I
Yeah.
don't,
I mean, all
so
right. Well, I'm gonna give you a quick preview of what's been happening in X-Men
quick,
right now.
quick update.
So we got Uncanny Spider-Man #3. So here's the thing. This focuses around Nightcrawler pretending to be, essentially taking on the alias of Spider-Man in a way. Like he's his own Spider-Man. But there's been a couple of Spider-Men in New York City, so people are like, okay, it's a new Spider-Man. Fine, whatever. You know? But people don't think that he's a mutant because mutants are hated right now. And they're getting rounded up and either deported or killed or whatever. So, like, things are really bad for mutants right now. And so Nightcrawler is trying to make up for like some stuff that he did when he was kind of mindless. He was like this mindless demon beast, and then he killed a couple people, and so he's trying to make up for it. And so he's doing that as this Uncanny Spider-Man. But then you have Orcus trying to hunt him down, and one of the scientists at Orcus is Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. And so there's like this whole thing. And then they also hire Silver Sable to hunt down Kurt. Also, at the same time, Nightcrawler, Mystique has amnesia, and she's going through some stuff. And so Kurt is trying to help his mother. So there's that whole thing. But here's the thing. Silver Sable and him start getting it on.
Yeah, I saw a couple of preview panels on Instagram.
Was it what I posted? When they kiss?
I think yours is one of them, but like there's been a couple of different people just like showing the
well,
hey, look at that.
in this issue, you see a silhouette of them having sex.
No,
on a rooftop. And so Silver Sable is essentially like, look, I'm hired for a job, but in my contract I have downtime. Like, I'm not my job 24/7. In that downtime, we can, we can be into each other. And then when I put that helmet on and it's time, I'm going to be hunting you. So there's this, like, Batman, Catwoman sort of thing.
I can't stop, like, imagining that at that moment, it's just, you just see a bam. It's just like, why?
But, like,
I don't know. That's just so
Kurt
funny.
isn't scared. That's the thing. Like, what's cool about his personality is very, like, adventurous. It's very, like, performative. I think that's what it is. Like, whatever he does is performative, right? And we all know, like, real life people that are like that. Me, a lot of the time. Where it's like, sometimes life is just a performance. Kurt's like that because he grew up as a acrobat, right? But I don't know, it's cool, and I never would have thought that they would match up Silver Sable and him. But they're both from Eastern Europe.
Well, it's pretty random, yeah.
But they're both from like very similar areas. So
one thing I don't understand, like I know it's like the suspension of belief and stuff, but
yeah,
we're reading comics. Like not everything's gonna make sense, but like I don't understand the hate for X-Men. Like it made sense when it came out, it made sense all the way up to like 2000. But like I don't understand when like in world the hate for X-Men, but not hate for like metahumans.
right.
You know what I mean? Like someone has power, like the Hulk. Nobody hates the Hulk for being the Hulk. Like they hate him for like his rage, that like he's dangerous, blah blah. But they don't hate him because he's a metahuman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
I'm trying to think of like other people. They don't hate Spider-Man. Nobody hates Spider-Man.
People hate him.
He's got powers.
Not because he has powers, but that's the thing about hate, right? Real life hate. People who are racist in real life, they don't like, I guess at the surface level go, I hate you because your skin's brown. It's, I hate you for the ideals. I hate you for what brown people do, right? It's kind of like that.
There's like X-Men has that radical group, right? That like is against humans or against mutants.
Against mutants? Yeah. Well, I mean, Orcus is the big bad right now.
Let's just take Orcus. Like Orcus, why aren't they putting any energy into like finding what's his name Spider-Man? Or why did they never cared about Miss Marvel until she wore the X-Men suit?
Right.
Right.
Because it's a political move.
Where's the line?
That's the whole thing. That's the thing about social constructs. Social constructs, sure, they're social constructs. They're not built naturally into things, but it doesn't mean that they're not real. Like social constructs are still real because we give them weight, right? And so like race is a social construct. Like there's no breakdown of race the way we think of race. There just isn't. But the fact is, we draw lines in the sand on what race is, and thus race matters historically, past, present, and the future. With the mutants, though, because I've thought about that, like that gets brought up a lot, right? Like, why do people hate mutants, but they're okay with Captain America, or they're maybe
Or
they
they're
hate
they're
Hulk,
okay with,
but like it's not in the same way, right?
or like they're okay with Iron Man. He doesn't have powers, but like he's still just as powerful as like any, like
Well,
you could
they're
be a
afraid
mutant
that
and
he's
not have,
unchecked, right? But like at
right,
least Iron Man doesn't have powers. And here's the thing with
which is
mutants.
ridiculous.
The drawing line in the sand is that mutants will replace you.
Yeah, I guess.
That's
And I
to
get that, but
me
like
when
it's
I
just
look at it, that's I mean, this is warranting a bigger, longer conversation, but yes, it's the whole they shall not replace us. So what happened in the early days of like X-Men and mutants and stuff, there's this like thing in universe where like an artist drew a sketch of like this is what the mutant run world would look like, and it's a picture of like a mutant with a whip and humans like toiling on the ground, right? So that humans eventually will be subservient to mutants. So that was like anti-mutant propaganda that was written back in the early days of X-Men, but I mean, it still continues because it's that idea of my literal genetic code is obsolete now. And then it
that's the
causes
best
problems. That's what it
argument.
is.
Yeah, that's the best argument I've heard. Yeah, which
Spider-Man
then you have
doesn't
things
like
like,
the fear isn't that all the people are going to be Spider-Man in the future, but all the
mm,
people are going to be mutants, and it doesn't really matter because your son is going to be a mutant or your grandson eventually, but it does matter to people because they don't want that.
because they don't want it. Yeah, that makes zero sense. And it's funny too, because then you have things like My Hero Academia, where it's like uh, everyone's a mutant. If you
Right,
want to really look at it, and like the outliers, the humans that have no powers. But
right. I
that's
mean,
just, like you
DC
said, that's another
DC deals
conversation.
with metahumans in a different way as well. You know,
Yeah.
each kind of universe deals with a little different. But that's essentially my understanding and my theories when it comes to X Men is that it's the replacement angle. It's not the powers. Everybody has a checks and balances with the powers, but the mutant part is a thing. And
That makes sense.
also the fact that, well, twofold, mutants are united under the label of mutants. Whenever you label people, you're essentially creating a
Um,
club for them, right?
all right.
Whether or not that label means anything, you create a club, for better or for worse. So there's that. So all the mutants creating a mutant island of Krakoa that's only for mutants. It's like, why aren't you letting me
Yeah,
in your club? I'm entitled
you
to
didn't
that.
want to be in.
You
Like you
know
didn't want to be in the club.
exactly. But I
That,
mean, these are real world things, right?
yeah.
And then there's also the idea of what was I mutants and whatnot. There was another point that I had, but yeah, that's
Oh,
I mean those are
these are
big.
good points.
Yeah,
They make sense.
yeah. Um,
You were gonna talk about your three books though, the three
yeah,
X books.
yeah. So Uncanny Spider-Man #3. I went over that. I think it's cute. It's nice. X Force #46. So for the past however many years, Colossus has been like like a mole in the X-Men in the X Force because not because of his own um want, but basically his brother Mikhail Rasputin has another guy that's working for him. So there's this guy who he writes a story on his typewriter and it makes it real. So like essentially he took over Colossus's self by writing about Colossus, right? So Colossus has
Oh,
been
okay.
a double agent or a mole in the X Force, in the X-Men from afar. And he kills his like girlfriend and he buries her and like this has been a couple years. So we finally deal with Mikhail Rasputin being like, oh, now we've all found out. Okay, so let's deal with this. And so, um, I don't know. It's been a couple years in the making. It wasn't as big as I wanted it to be, but at least we're getting it done. That was
They
X
didn't
Force
drop it.
46.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
So at least they didn't drop it. Like it's just like, oh
Right,
yeah, we started that, but don't worry
right.
about it.
It's like, okay, whatever. And then X Men Red 17. This one was actually close to being my pick of the week. We're dealing with a lot of Mars antics. Apocalypse is back. He says a couple cool lines. And I thought it was like kind of nice. So there's a retcon that they did. So essentially, Apocalypse, his original four children, his by blood, were death, famine, pestilence, and war. And so then he named his horsemen of Apocalypse after his own children. It's a retcon, right? That's why he did it. So Death ends up killing Pestilence, and Death is on Storm's side. There's two warring armies. And so Apocalypse shows up and he says to Death, he goes, "Oh, you're on this side. I'm impressed by you." And I thought that was nice. It was just this nice father-son moment. I thought it was
Yeah, I'm proud.
it's like, "Oh, you picked Storm side? Good. Good work."
Very nice.
Yeah. But like things are ramping up right now. It's very X-Men Red is very like world buildy, like Dune. It's very science fiction epic, like going into depth for all these different things. And so if that's your cup of tea, I love it. Not that I love Dune, but I love this. It's something I can care about, you know? What else did you read this week?
I think we both read Batman.
We both did. The
I,
the mind bomb begins. The explosive mind
yeah, the
bomb
mind
begins.
bomb begins. I texted a friend earlier. I said, if I hadn't read the last 10, 12 issues of Batman, I would think that this is a pretty good beginning for this story. Because it is, but I can't let go of what we've been through with Batman this last. Like he's still having the problem with Zernal,
Zurinar.
whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's still got the hand, which I feel like they're gonna retcon it at some point. They're gonna
Right.
fix his hand. Like he's got all that. But Joker, as like when they said they were bringing back Joker, I kind of rolled my eyes.
And then they bring out three
But it was
Jokers.
good. Yeah, and then they brought up the three Jokers and stuff, and that's like, oh, this is interesting. This is very. And then they brought up like you were saying, the Knight and
Yeah.
the last man who laughed or whatever
Who stopped laughing? Yeah.
who stopped laughing. So they brought that up. But I just want to know how. I guess this is everybody's thing is how does the Joker know what he knows? Like, okay, we know that he knows who Bruce is, but how does he know that he's going through these mind problems? How does he know that he's going through? How was he able to activate Zernal? Like,
Yeah. Well, there is a backup
how does
story in one of the
Joker?
previous issues where it shows like the first time Zurinar goes up against Joker, he like almost kills him, and the Joker notices that like Batman's different. So I think he realized years ago, at like the start of Zurinar, that Bruce has that in his mind.
And also, he's pretty man. Every time, like it's very predictable the Joker, but either way, even with it being predictable, like the way he set up those dolls and like the storyline of Batman, like I was like, damn man, like calm
Right.
down, man.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
can we not just fight? Can we
Yeah.
not
You
like
don't
you
have to
don't have
hurt
to
my
do all this?
feelings. Like.
Like, it's the happiest day of your life when your parents died. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah. It was it was surprisingly good and like had a logical flow to it. Okay, because
Have have you been liking the past couple of issues of Batman?
not really. And also, Gotham War
And
ended really bad.
Gotham War was bad, man. Like you called it. Like the whole everything that you said about Gotham War, I 100% agree. It was just bad. Like
Yeah, I
I don't
wish they
know.
would listen to me, you know, because I have some
And
ideas on how to take Batman further, but you know, creating new stuff with it. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I hope they're setting him up for something big.
I kind of want him to pass the torch, or at least
No,
like I
yeah,
told you this once. Like like the Flash, Barry Allen passed the torch to Wally
Right.
for who knows how many years, a couple of years, and now it's happened again. And Batman has whenever Batman passes the torch, it's like, hey, this is gonna be like a no more than 1 year thing, and then I'm back. All right, let's not play any games here.
Right.
Um,
I would like the idea kind of how like Barbara Gordon is Batgirl and Stephanie Brown
yeah,
and Cassandra Cain. It would be nice that if Batman, maybe nobody's Batman, but maybe he, is not suiting up as much because he puts his team out there to be there, and he stays at home and maybe works on being a father and a husband.
like you just said, like no one is Batgirl. There's not one Batgirl. There's three,
Yeah.
right? And that's okay. And it is a little confusing at times, but it's still like you know who they are. And it could work like that. But
Yeah.
in this issue, he literally says like, I'm still like falling out with the family, and I understand he's like in that dark place right now and all
Yeah.
that. But one thing that like rubbed me the wrong way was how he like talked about Jason. He was just like, oh, Jason kind of had a run in with these people, as if he didn't just like break his entire world
Yeah.
a couple of issues ago. Like you were just a huge dick, and you're still talking about like, oh, it's fine. We're
Yeah.
just having a little tiff,
Yeah,
little
I don't know
stuff,
what's going
no
on
big
with
deal.
this and why they're doing that, but it is what it is. I I did like this issue, but I read Joker: The Man Who Stopped Laughing number 12, and it was weird. I don't know. They're leaning into that there's multiple Jokers, and like
Like good for them, finally, I guess.
I mean they had
Other
the
than
three
what the others,
Jokers thing, and that sucked.
yeah.
I don't want
Mm,
multiple Jokers. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah. I mean, like the explanation from Three Jokers was bad. So maybe they're trying to retcon it and be like, hey, this is the actual Three Jokers. And maybe that'll be good, but I have little faith
Right.
in
And they keep
Batman
saying
right
three
now.
Jokers, but two Jokers, because one died in Three Jokers. So, like, Jason killed one.
Well, I don't think that Three Jokers is canon. The Three Jokers mentioned from Justice League 50 up to now is probably what it's definitely what like incur like that's why they told the story. But I think that they were trying to go to this route. Something happened because I know that something happened between like Watchmen and Doomsday and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like something happened within the company that they were like, oh well, there's this Three Jokers thing. Let's just do this like Elseworld story.
Right, with
And then
Jeff
now it's
Johns. But
like,
it wasn't Elseworlds. I think it's
yeah,
in continuity.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because think about like Jason kissing
Yeah, it's
Batgirl, but like
weird. That's why it sucks.
every everything about it wasn't in continuity with the current continuity. You know what I mean? And a lot of things happened in between with all these crises and Dark Knight's death metal, and you had Final Crisis. So like a lot of things could be explained to be like, oh yeah, the Three Jokers that you read by Jeff Johns, that's actually not canon. Here's the actual Three Jokers thing, and that's why they put JL 50 and not Three Jokers. You see what I'm saying? Like they didn't reference the book Three Jokers. They referenced Justice League 50
Yeah.
when we first found out about the Three
Okay.
Jokers.
All right.
So,
Maybe.
and I refuse to believe that Three Jokers is canon. So if even if someone from DC said no, that's still canon, I'm gonna be like, you're stupid. So
Maybe they're trying to distance themselves from Jeff Johns. I'm not quite sure. I don't know.
I don't. Why would they want to do that?
Yep. Um. All right. So, Amazing Spider-Man 37. I liked
Ugh,
it.
so we don't need. No, we don't need to talk
You
about
don't
it.
like it?
We can end the show. Wreck Rap. Come on, man.
I
Like
like
any.
Rec Rap. You don't like Rec Rap?
No, no.
Rec
This
Rap
is
is
my
just
last time.
Bizarro. Rec Rap is just Bizarro for Spider-Man, and
Uh,
that's the fun of
It's
it.
been it's been fun, guys. This is my last time on this show. Eh,
Okay, do you like Bizarro from Superman?
I tolerate Bizarro,
So you don't
and I,
tolerate
and I
Rec
like
Rap?
some of I like some of his stories. Like some of the Bizarro storylines can be emotional, and they give him good character growth. I
Yeah.
understand that Wreck Rap is only like a couple of months old,
Yeah.
but I hate Wreck Rap.
Okay,
I
that's fair.
don't dislike him. I don't. What I hate Wreck Rap.
I think I'd be willing to bet in a year's time. I'm gonna give it a year. In a year's time, you're gonna be on
No,
my side.
man. Nope. His dialogue, man. Like that
But that's the whole point. Well, he's kind
dialogue.
of like Bizarro meets Batmite. He's very kind of Batmite-y, right? Because he's a fan of Spider-Man.
Yes. Yes. Which is bad.
You don't like it's
No,
Wangin time?
no, man. No.
I think it'd be I
Every
think
time he's on the page, I was like,
it's only a
God,
matter of time till he teams up with Daredevil. Or not Daredevil, Deadpool. It's only a matter of time till he teams up with Deadpool.
I really hope if that happens, Deadpool is annoyed by him. Like Deadpool, like,
It
no,
would
I don't
be
want to talk
funny
to you.
to have
Like that
Deadpool
would
annoyed at him like other people are annoyed at Deadpool. These are stories I do want to see. I'm not even talking ironically. That would be fun.
I would appreciate that, but I don't want it. I don't want anything. I want Rec Rap to be in limbo and stay there. Don't ever
Okay.
come back out. Just go back to hell.
Do you
Basically, go back to hell.
do you like the designs of his enemies though? Like Kraken the Hunter?
I do like all that, yes, but I think really the main issue is the talking, man, the
Oh.
dialogue. I don't like to have to read that. You know?
I don't know.
I don't know
It's
if that
very
makes sense.
cartoony, and maybe Rec Rap works better as a like physical cartoon because he's very
Yeah.
slapsticky, and so like maybe he'd work better in like a medium like animation, but like because he
No,
keeps doing this thing of like I know I look just like him, and they're like you don't
yeah,
look just like Spider Man. I know you could
and
barely
I
tell the
think
difference.
also it's also Ed McGuinness is. I won't say he's got a bad art. I just don't like the style. It's good art. I just don't really like the blocky
Yeah, I
style that
like
he has.
I I his action or his designs are very action figure-y. In fact, I have one of his
Yeah.
action figures from Superman Batman from back in the day. It's Natasha Irons Steel, her action figure.
Okay.
And so, but anyway, his because remember there was a whole toy line based off of his
Yeah.
artwork. Yeah,
Yeah. And like, and I get it, and like it does, it is appealing at times, but right now, I'm just not into it. It's not
I think you
it's
could be
not
swayed.
bad.
I think there's some I think there's more
Rec
rec
rap?
rap to come.
No, no. I'm like, I don't even want to read the next issue because it's still rec rap. It's still like he's still gonna
Yeah,
be in
but the
there.
gang war is coming.
How do you feel about the way that they're doing that? Like the gang war every time, the last I want to say 3 issues, they put a page or two of the gang war and then they move on. I don't know if I like that.
I'm looking forward to a street level crossover event. That's what I want. I want a street level
Yeah,
crossover event. And
but it's
so
not gonna
like
be.
She-Hulk I think is
Um,
jumping in, Iron Fist and like those street level
Dare-
heroes. I'm all for that. As long as it
Daredevil, I
stays
think.
street level. As long as it doesn't end with a huge monster walking through New York City, I think I'm good. But like they're setting up Count Nefaria, they're setting up Hammerhead, Silvermane, right? It wasn't there like a
Also saw Elektra's Daredevil. I didn't see Daredevil, the other guy, the actual
oh
Daredevil,
yeah.
but I did see Elektra,
Okay.
Matt,
Yeah.
whatever,
Father Matt, right?
right?
Father or whatever.
Father Matt. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually been pretty. It's still another. Oh, that's not Chips with our. Yeah, never mind.
That
That
is.
that one's alright.
Oh no, you're
No,
right.
it
It's Saladin Ahmed. Yeah, no.
says
Yeah.
Saladino. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you don't like rec rap. That's fine. I gotta talk quick about some of the stuff. Marvel Unleashed #4 made me cry.
Marvel Unleashed.
That's the Pet Avengers one. Did I tell you about this?
Oh no, I
They're
have not read it. So
purposely making you cry. There's okay in the first
did they hurt an animal?
yes.
Oh, like no.
So there's in the first issue, there's a new character that's introduced, a dog that has no owner, that is not loved by anyone. This dog is just a stray street dog, and she finds D-Man's mask in the trash. Remember D-Man, Demolition Man, D-Man? He looks like Wolverine and Daredevil put together. So D-Man's mask is in it, and she goes, "Okay, I'm D-Dog, and I'm gonna be a hero, and I'm gonna be the best hero." And she doesn't have any powers, and so she teams up with Lockjaw and Redwing, who's Falcon's Falcon, and Chewie the Flurkin. Like, she teams up with all of them, and then they go up against Blackheart, which is Mephisto's son, Blackheart, like the son of the devil, essentially, who wants to bring his devil army into the human world. And they talk about in issue 1. I don't want to tell you how this issue ends. I cried. I can't. I don't know why. The purpose of this. I think the purpose of this miniseries is to make you cry, and because in the first issue they say that all pets who die, they go to the Rainbow Bridge, and they meet their owners at the Rainbow Bridge so they can be in like heaven together. They get to cross together. And they said that D-Dog has nobody, so D-Dog will be alone.
Why? Why would they do that?
It's
Why would you say that?
Right. They're purposely hurting us. And so D-Dog says, okay, that's fine. Like, it's just because nobody loves D-Dog, right? D-Dog doesn't have an owner. And so when D-Dog dies, like, D-Dog will never have anyone.
So I'm assuming issue 4, D-Dog dies. She's at the Rainbow Bridge and there's nobody there.
You want me to tell you?
Sure, if you want to. I mean, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Spoilers.
D-Dog dies, and D-Dog goes to the Rainbow Bridge, and there isn't anyone, and D-Dog says, okay, there's nobody there, but at least I, like, died a hero, right? And keep in mind, D-Dog has no powers, and D-Dog just has his ratty trash mask, and Frog Thor comes in and says, like, all the animals meet D-Dog on the Rainbow Bridge, and it is the Bifrost Bridge, which I thought was interesting because those are two different ideas that they made. They're like, it's one Rainbow Bridge. And so Throg says that he pulled a few strings, and since you died a hero, you get to go to Valhalla.
Let's say, yeah.
And so D-Dog goes to Valhalla, and then the Valkyries take D-Dog. And so, like, D-Dog dies, though.
I was thinking that it was going to be more of a Throg comes in and is like, hey, we're all waiting for you. We couldn't all fit at the bridge. So
right.
We have another location. Like, we have been waiting for you. Like, you're not alone.
Right. But, I thought they were going to find D-Dog on the bridge and bring her back to life. Because he says, I pulled a few strings. And I was like, oh, pulled a few strings and bring her back to life. No. She's a dog that dies. Fighting demons.
Is this the last issue?
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's kind of sad. But, I mean, as a Valkyrie, you know that she'll probably show back up.
I want her to show back up, right? Like, I hope from now on, when the Valkyries show, they have a horse that flies. They also got a dog, you know?
What kind of dog?
It's a mutt. It's not like any specific kind of looking dog, like a German Shepherd kind of shepherd hound kind of dog. But yeah, that's what it I was crying. I was like, why are they doing this to me, man?
It's sad and happy sad. Both.
Well, because it ends, and I was like, it ends with like the living ones just being like, we're heroes. And I'm like, like
the body in the background.
No, not with the body in the background, but like it's sad, and I'm anyway. So there's that. All right. Before we get going, Guardians of the Galaxy #8, dealing with Grootfall. It's kind of a slower issue, but it's been a really good run, so it's worth checking out. Superman 78, The Metal Curtain #1. It's a sequel to the Superman 78 sequel comic series. So Superman 1 and 2, and then it's the first Superman 78 miniseries that deals with Brainiac. And then this one introduces the Russians as kind of an antagonist, which I thought was kind of a cool period piece sort of situation. So this is the new series for Superman 78, and then there's going to be another Batman 89 series that's coming out as well. So both of them, but they're both in different time periods. So it is what it is. But I don't know, it was a good start to it. And then Punisher #1. I did want to mention Punisher #1 deals with a new Punisher. He doesn't originally go in being the Punisher. He just happens to have like light up chest plates. So he's like, oh, people think I'm the Punisher? Whatever, they're off my tail. He's an ex-SHIELD agent whose family gets blown up. And
why does that have to be the origin of every Punisher? Like,
that's
why?
what somebody was saying, that it's
Come
essentially
on,
the same origin. It's
you
that his
didn't need
family
to have
dies.
that.
But like I think they need that for the Punisher, but he's not. So it's kind of like this is kind of like Punisher the SHIELD agent. So there are powers, there are special weapons and gadgets and that sort of thing. So what if Punisher was a secret agent? I don't know. It might be something that people like and might not be something people like. It's an okay start. He fights Mr. Hyde. So, you know Mr. Hyde?
I think no, I'm seeing like 5 issues tops so far.
You think it's gonna end at 5?
Think so.
Yeah. I mean,
Seven,
I really
seven
don't. I
tops.
don't care about this character at all. But I think it'll at least go 6 issues. They'll finish and they'll make one graphic novel and that'll be it.
That's it, yeah.
But it's a media. It was a good start, but kind of a mediocre, like leading to like a mediocre series. I don't think it's gonna be bad. I don't think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on that before we get going. Any final thoughts before we get going, Manny?
No, I mean, I think this has been pretty. Like, I only read 3/4 of my books, but like so far, my lowest book was 30. Amazing Spider-Man 37 with a grand total of 7.
Okay.
So, and I try to give. I never give 0. I never give 0 points. It's either a 1, 2, or 3. So
Right.
at least you can get is a 5, and it got
Oof.
a 7.
Okay.
So,
All right. All right.
so but yeah, and I think Dark Ride. If you haven't read Dark Ride, it's like Dark Disney, Devil Disney Land, everything.
Yeah.
We got a huge revelation at the end of this book. This is issue number 10. Um, but like if that kind of stuff like theme parks and things, conspiracy theories, if that interests you, Dark Ride,
All
go
right.
pick it up.
All right. Sounds good.
Joshua Williamson.
Yeah. That's right. Thank you, Manny, so much for coming on the show. Before we get going, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
I am on all social medias. It's going to be at Manny Reads Comics, and I don't really have anything coming up. I may or may not start doing a little podcast on my side as well, but that's to be determined.
Okay. All right.
And
Sounds
if I
good.
do, I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. Let me know. Let me know. Thank you so much. Thank you to anyone out there who is listening and or watching. If you're watching us live, you're watching us twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or you listen to us live wherever you get your podcasts from, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. If you're online on social media, our two biggest ones are Instagram and TikTok at The Keeg Show, but we're also on Threads and Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff at The Keeg Show or /The Keeg Show. But Instagram and TikTok are our two biggest social media platforms. Now that the strike is over, the SAG-AFTRA strike, we will be having to do more podcast episodes, especially on the content that came out during the strike. So I will be having to go full throttle to make that work, but there's a lot of stuff that we will be talking about. Blue Beetle, the movie, and Ahsoka and Loki and Secret Invasion, which I got a lot of thoughts about that one. So it might be our rantiest episode, because normally we don't rant, but that might be a ranty episode. So definitely stay tuned for that. There's a lot of Keeg content. Comic Talk, which is this show, is every Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we got the Keeg Talks on the weekends. And then we'll probably get back to doing after shows very soon. Not until whatever the next show is that pops up. But there's a lot of cool stuff out there. So definitely stay tuned. LA Comic Con is also in December as well, so we will be there. That's pretty much it. Thank you, Manny, so much for coming on the show. always a pleasure, man.
Yeah,
Tonight I'm gonna go see the Marvels. So I mean, I'm hearing good things actually, which the haters are gonna hate regardless. And I was hoping that it would be a good movie so the haters can eat shit because they're hating for other reasons.
they won't admit it. It's good. So
No, that's the thing. But
is
at
what it is.
least, at the very least, because I want it to be good. So definitely, we'll be doing an episode on that at some point. So thank you, Manny. Thank you to everybody out there. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been another episode of Comic Talk for the week of November 9th, 2023. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.